Hey guys, I don't know. Have you guys seen this particular story? Have you guys seen this particular story where an African girl living in the US was actually scammed by a white man? There's a lot of things that actually went back and forth with this story, and a lot of people are able to share their own thoughts as well. But if you see this story, please let me know, because I have a lot of things to say at the end of this video. You know, they've gotten to that point where they can literally tag a black person as a criminal, as this, as that, where they can literally follow a black person every single place the black person is working in the store, where they can literally not see any good thing about any single thing that look like me, right? So when I saw this particular story, I have to watch from the beginning of the series to the end of the series. It has over 20 something series. And if you guys have not seen, after watching this video, so that you can get the full tea of every single thing that happened, all you need to do is just to check on the Danish deception. Do you get? You're going to get all of that update. Let's watch this video. Credit belongs to original creators of every single clip and stitches you're going to be seeing in today's episode. And guys, with that being said, let's dive right into this video and I'll be back with commentaries. Things are happening, oh. Black people, shine your eyes. Let's watch.
He told me one day, he said, you know, if we ever end up getting married, you're going to meet the queen. What do you mean I'll meet the queen? And he said, my family has a royal title. I thought super romantic.
So you're telling me your ex-husband scammed you out of $50,000 and then scammed your sister, your friends, your coworkers, and your parents? Not only did he scam y'all for thousands of dollars, but he also got a green card. Why didn't anyone Google him? If a man is telling me that he owns properties, I'm Googling it. If a man tells me that he was in the Olympics, I'm Googling him. Why didn't anyone Google him? When she asked his family if they were really royalty, I lost it. And I 100% agree with a lot of people's takes where they're saying that he would have never gotten this far if he was a black man. If this was a black man asking her for some money 6 weeks into the relationship, she would have broken up with him. There's no way they would have made it to marriage. I will say that this story time was very entertaining. I was sad. I truthfully hope Netflix or Tyler Perry picks this up.
The Tinder swindler only scammed his lovers. Put some respect in his name. This is not the same as Danish deception. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. He never married none of them. Do you know how deceptively cunning you must be to marry someone and be in this web of lies? And you're in their innermost circle. Like the Tinder swindler, them girls never met his friends and family. They didn't. And they still got conned. This one met friends, family. She had multiple opportunities to dissect the story, to Google here and there. And she was in the inner cuckus, whatever you want to call it, of the whole situation. And Onyeka still got scammed. Let's break it down, okay? The first thing is, I got my book right here for the information, okay? The first thing is, here's why she was more gullible than most. They didn't meet online. They didn't meet in a construction site. He wasn't renovating her house. They didn't meet through friends. She met him in person in a private members club at a bar. So in her mind, whatever he's saying to her has to be true, because the setting in which they're in, the location is given vibes, is given money, is given European wealth and culture. So that in itself, when she's seeing that, bearing in mind she was drinking a mojito when they met, so that with his height and his build, that's why she could have said that he looks like a Calvin Klein model. I've been seeing some pictures. Some of them I see from a distance what she could have seen. But up close, But remember, she's been drinking. She's on holiday. She's on eat, pray, love mode. So that's why she might have felt he was a Calvin Klein model. That's why she might have been predisposed to believe he might come from wealth. And, you know, we're not even going to go into the royalty bit. That's another paragraph. But why he might have come from wealth, okay? That's why she might have been gullible. First point. some of you are too young to know this movie called How Stella Got Her Groove Back. It's about how Angela Bassett's character went on holiday to the Caribbean and, you know, fell in love with this guy and everything was great. Da, 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 da. So maybe she felt this is her How Stella Got Her Groove Back moment, okay? The first red flag for me was when her German friend said, no, let's go. They were supposed to meet later on and the friend was like, nah, let's go. As a European, she probably saw through the bullshit. She was like, let's go. And then they didn't see him later on. But he cornered her at her most vulnerable time. Her friend had gone back. She was all alone. You have to remember, another part of this is, this woman is in her 30s. She's not a teenager. She's not in her early 20s. She's in her 30s. And women who are in their 30s, they generally, most of them, want to settle down and find love. This is precisely why I wrote Single to Engage in 1 year. A no-nonsense book that helps you secure the ring faster. But I should have written, and smarter. For instance, look, don't trust any man. Regardless of ethnicity, all men are the same. If she'd seen that, she would have realized that anyone can con her, not just men of certain ethnicities. Another thing, if she'd known, never marry a man out of pity or desperation, she would have known that, bruh, something is off here. I don't want to give him no passport by marrying him quickly so he can stay. Again, abuse is not okay. Leave the first time. Have a courage to walk away from what doesn't feel good. She didn't leave him. She didn't initiate the divorce until he said he didn't want to be married anymore. Again, never tell a man how much you earn. These are just one of 100 gems in this book, Single to Engage in 1 year. I don't want to hear another one of these Risa Tisa stories, Danish deception. All of these women, single to engage in 1 year. All of these women, single to engage in 1 year. None of this stuff would be happening. Buy the book. And this seemed like the perfect situation. She would have vetted him more in America than when she was in Europe, because why would anyone in Europe lie to her in her mind? You have to understand, these are people, don't come for me now, who have seen Meghan Markle come from America to Europe, find her prince, you know, have this great love affair, and happily ever after, obviously to come, but happily ever after. So she's now in Europe on holiday, meeting this great guy at this bar in this expensive location in Hvar in Croatia, in this, you know, private members club. And this guy who she thinks is probably her Prince Harry is saying he's gonna fly her out. You have to understand, in America, people get flown out, you know, all the time because there's states and whatnot. But in Europe, guys generally don't fly you out because they're too frugal. To fly you out means you got to plan the accommodation, you got to plan the flights, you got to plan the restaurants, you got to plan the whole day. And for someone you don't know, most European guys don't do that. As a British guys don't do that. To do all of that for someone you've just met, for her, it's probably the norm in America to get flown out. So she's getting flown out, and in her mind, he's got it like that. You know, it's nothing random. That's why some of the things I heard, context is so important. I had to put myself in her mindset and be like, why would she fall for this so easily? Okay, because she comes from a culture where it's easy to get flown out. Okay, third point, she's a bit talkative, and 26 parts, I had to press 2 times speed for all those videos because I couldn't sit through that. But she looks like someone who is very talkative, great at communicating. After all, she sells real estate. She sells homes and property for a living. So she needs to talk. I think she was also trying to sell herself on that first date. I think when the friend was like, for her to even say stuff like, oh, tell me the kind of guy, tell me the kind of girl that he would like and stuff like that. She's already setting herself. She's trying to put things into motion for things to go. So ultimately, she created her own downfall because she pursued him. That's what I'm going to say in that. She pursued him. She asked for his Instagram. When he asked to fly her out, she said okay. Even at the point that her German friend said no, she still pursued it. Her putting her hand on his lap. She was free meat, and he's a wolf, okay, and a lion saw free food. She's free food. I believe firmly, based on what I've seen on the video she's done, her selling herself. I know as a talkative, she's probably told him what she does for a living, how much she probably earns. You know, the back for back, thinking that this is someone in the same industry as her, so she let her guard down. She was slightly drunk. So he's just gathering data, gathering information on this young woman, gathering substantial information and thinking to himself, hold on, I don't even have to go to China right here to finesse people. I don't have to go to the gamblers to get the loan shacks to get the money. This is free me. This girl, I know for a fact because she's told us she's earns £150,000 a year, $150,000 a year. She probably told him she earns $150,000 a year. So he's calculated, okay, she's got the money, she's got access to an American passport, and I know many people will be like, oh no, but he's Danish, he's from Denmark, he doesn't need the American passport. But when you're a budding criminal like him, you need the American passport. He done committed crimes all around his area. He's committed crimes in China. America is a land of opportunity and dreams. Of course, he's gonna want to go there and solidify this grand scheme to finesse he did. I guarantee you he Googled her and he saw that she was on The Bachelor. Or maybe, once again, as a talkative woman, she probably told him that she was on The Bachelor, that she's never had a proper relationship. So she's told him all this information now, and he's thinking, wow, what have I done in life to get all this? Like, she is food. You know, she's gone on the show. That means she's got some fame. That means he can attach some fame to his name. Because all I did was Google his name, and it literally comes up as husband to Bachelor star. Da, 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 da. So he's got the fame. He's got the finance, her finances, her family's finances. Here's another thing. I think we shouldn't be so hard on the parents. She's like 34, 36. That means her parents are probably in their 70s. That means they're in the twilight years of their life, so they're not fully like coherent with what's going on and very sharp with being fully Nigerian. I also think that they're second gen Nigerian, which makes her third gen Nigerian. So they're not in that struggle mode to prove themselves and create the American dream. I think they've already set up an American lifestyle dream for her because she's educated, you know, she's got a great job. They had a great job. They can afford to fund her white wedding. She assumed they would fund her white wedding. So clearly the money is there. The funds is there. So as a first gen Nigerian, how first gen Nigerians think is, they're in like that mode, that hungry mode where they want to monopolize, they want to take over, they're so industrious, they're so entrepreneurial, they need to make it. It's do or die, it's fight or flight. Her parents are comfortable now, so they're not vetting him in that way. Like, they're not going to do their due diligence, because in their mind, this girl has never had a proper relationship before. She's been ultimately the perfect daughter, very obedient, got a great job, never been in trouble, has great friends, has a great social circle, you know, has done such great things that they're probably boasting about her. For them to think that why would they need to go and vet the man she's brought home? This is the first time she brought a man home. They trust that she would have done the right thing and vetted him. So that's why they didn't really vet him. Yes, Google is free. There's going to be a part 2 to this because I have to delve some more. I'll see you in part 2. The thing that really triggered me about the story was the friends. You're telling me the friends couldn't talk to each other and be like, yo, he borrowed money from me and he hasn't paid it back. Or they couldn't call her to the side and be like, hey, I hope everything's great, but I've seen on your Instagram that you're in, you know, Colombia, you're in Paris, you're here and there, but your husband did borrow £3,000 from me. When is that man going to pay it back? None of them could have brought her aside to ask. That's the part of the story that I don't understand. Like, they must be super wealthy that £3,000 was not a lot of money for them. To add to that, they must be super wealthy. The friend that borrowed 150k, but the inflation made it 200 to 300 based on crypto, never told her when is he gonna pay back. Then the other guy who was his mentor didn't reach out to her and be like, what's going on? These are seriously wealthy people. Like, take away from the fact that, you know, she's on The Bachelor and all stuff. She surrounded herself with seriously wealthy people. Because how did none of them ask for their money back? She had to reach out to them to be like, did he scam you? Are we missing this thing? That's huge. This is huge. Her social circle must be so elite that they never reached out to her to get their money back. That's the part of the story that blows my mind. Completely blows my mind. My nosy ass would have been on her Instagram page taking screenshots saying, hey, he needs to pay back, or you need to pay back, or one of y'all needs to pay back. And this is precisely why I wrote Single to Engage in 1 year, a no-nonsense book that helps you secure the ring faster, but I should have written and smarter. For instance, look, don't trust any man. regardless of ethnicity, all men are the same. If she'd seen that, she would have realized that anyone can con her, not just men of certain ethnicities. Another thing, if she'd known, never marry a man out of pity or desperation, she would have known that, bruh, something is off here. I don't want to give him no passport by marrying him quickly so he can stay. Again, abuse is not okay. Leave the first time. Have a courage to walk away from what doesn't feel good. She didn't leave him. She didn't initiate the divorce until he said he didn't want to be married anymore. Again, never tell a man how much you earn. These are just one of 100 gems in this book. Single to engage in 1 year. I don't want to hear another one of these Risa Tisa stories, Danish deception. All of these women, single to engage in 1 year. All of these women, single to engage in 1 year. None of this stuff would be happening. Buy the book. And then she kept saying at the start of it that her and her sister are very close. And I can believe that they're very close. But we are not close enough that I can't tell you that your husband owes me money. He borrowed the first time and paid back and I never told you? How? How? And then the parents, he borrowed from the parents and never told you? Like none of y'all talking to each other? How? How close are you that you guys don't discuss? This is why I say that they can't be first generation Nigerian. They just can't. They just can't. I don't know these people from Adam, but they just can't be first generation. The point that everyone keeps making on this site is about him being white and how can a white guy scam a Nigerian? Nigerians are scammers. Pause right there. Nigerians have only been scamming for the last 100 years. If that. White men have been scamming since the 1600s. These white chocolate niggas have been scamming since the 1600s. They monopolized the whole world. They got the whole world to think that they were the height of society. They went around cutting up Africa. They went around doing 400 years of slavery. They went around doing all these shambolic things that they've now convinced all of us to forget about it and project on new upcoming countries where there's crime going on, like Colombia, like several parts of Africa and Congo and whatnot. When they invented fraud, So let's stop with the whole Nigerian narrative on Nigerian scammers. Nigerians have not been scamming for more than 100 years. They haven't. And until y'all wake up and realize that the majority of Nigerians are not criminals. Yes, their politicians are. I will never sit here and say that they're not. Like, the politicians are the most corrupt. And I see several celebrities and their kids who are like, oh, come from, money and Nepo babies. If your parents have any ties or grandparents have any ties with the government in Nigeria or in Africa, then you're a product of fraud and deception. You're a product of theft and thievery. It's in your genes. It's in your bloodline. And the sons of the father, y'all will pay for it. Least I deviate. Okay, so let's not sit here and say, oh no, that we can't believe she was scammed by Nigerians, because most Nigerians are not fraudsters. Most Nigerians don't do scams and frauds and stuff. It's literally the 1% of the 1% who do it, but they do it on such a grand scale that it's notable, and the West will project it on all social media platforms and keep that narrative going. The big scammers are the white men. They are scamming people. They are the reasons why financial destruction is going on. The recession, was that Nigerians that did the recession that affected the whole world? Was it the American recession? The Great Depression, was it Nigerians that did that? No, it's the big men in the big industries who are doing all the stuff. Enron, the scam that went on with that, was that Nigerians? It wasn't, So back to my point, this Danish guy could pull that off so easily. Why? Because he could. Because it will go undetected. Because of his... And another thing, I saw that she follows Candace Owen, and there's a lot of political, things going on around that. You have to understand that this proximity to whiteness and how I'm not even going to group us in this fuckery, that they, Onyeka and her family and friends and whatnot, the proximity to whiteness that they have been so accustomed to, that they are so gullible to think that this white man can't scam them because he's white, is mind-blowing. Because, once again, what do white people do? Not all white people, but the majority in history, if we look historically, they have convinced you that they are not the threat. So you look for other people who are the threat. But they are the biggest threat because they do all the things that are going on. All of it. Because they have positions of power. That's my take on that. Anyways, back to the conversation I'm having. What else did I write down? I also think that she's very lucky that God saved her because she didn't have no kids with this man. She could have reproduced with him, which would have meant generational trauma of being tied to him forever. She could have lost her house because she was trying to put his name in the deeds. Oh my God, he would have cleaned up. You know, what else? She didn't lose her mental health. That's very important because she would have been sectioned, considering the level of trauma and deceit and the mind games and the whole thing. Oh, the fact that she still has a mental health, all praise and glory be to God. The fact that she's now doing this 26-part series on TikTok shows that there's potential for book deals, for TV deals, for a docuseries, maybe on Netflix, maybe on Tubi, who knows. But she's lucky because we are invested. We want to know, like, the internet has been boring for the last month or so. So this is some juicy gossip. So thank you for that. Thank you. And my final point is, I think that's it. I'll see you next video. Bye.
The thing about the Danish deception that I haven't seen anyone comment on yet is that she's lying. You can't tell me that in 2025 you have this life where you are able to see the world and make a ton of money and have friends with influence, and you didn't look up when this guy said he was a Danish prince. When he said he was an Olympic medalist, you weren't like, oh my God, I have to see your Wikipedia. She's lying. This whole time she knew. She was not tricked. She knew that this guy was not a Danish prince. She knew he wasn't a medalist, that he wasn't this like super rich guy. But she was living in her own delusion that this would all kind of resolve itself. She has the guy, you know, she has the guy that everyone else wants, that all of her white friends want. Everyone has said this, thank God, that the first thing that she says about this guy is that he's tall, he has blue eyes, he's blonde, he's Danish. Like, it all has to do with her wanting to be chosen with a white man. We all agree on that. But she thought that this would all work itself out through the power of nothing. Like, she had no basis on that. She wanted to be chosen so bad by a white man that she ignored. They weren't red flags. She just knew that it was bad. Like, she ignored all of these truths. The thread of hope that with daddy's money, with her money, that she would still be able to secure this man. And we know this to be true because he left her. She was not going to let go of this guy for any reason, because at the end of the day, the pictures were good, her friends were jealous, and she was chosen by a white man. And the super extra mega crazy thing is that she would actually have a successful story that everyone like related to and like wanted to connect with if she told the truth. If she said, man, I was being a pick-me and I made a mistake and I thought that I knew what I wanted, but I didn't. I thought that what I wanted was a guy that would give me status and that would make us as a couple look desirable, make me look desirable to the white standard. But actually what I really wanted was a loving husband and not this criminal piece of crap guy. She would actually have a story, but she's trying to save face. Like, she's trying to be like, oh, well, you know, he tricked me. Girl, you didn't use the internet. I don't believe you.
The Danish deception guy, yeah, I've met him. Let's get into it. So I've already done a story time about this on my Danish account, but y'all keep asking about it in English. I thought I would post it on my English speaking account. So basically, I met him a couple of years ago when he was dating a very close friend of mine. In the beginning, when I was watching her videos, I did not know that it was him, okay? I was just following because she knew how to tell a story and it was super juicy. And you guys, everybody was hooked. Hello. So imagine my surprise when my friend writes in the group chat that this is the guy and she dated him. And I go, wait a minute, I met him when you guys were dating. People who do not know me, I grew up in Denmark, so everything about this is happening in Denmark. So when I met him, he was very charming, very nice, nothing negative to say about him. And also, like, I'm strict, but my friend is much more stricter. So I knew if she introduced me to this man that he must have been a really good man. Not only is this guy a scammer, he's also a cheater because he was seeing my friend, his now ex-wife, and his ex all around the same time. Like, there's an overlap. And yes, he was out there selling everybody a dream. And I'm not going to go into detail about the relationship that he had with my close friend, but what I can say is that this man did not come for any royalty. Okay, his last name is such a basic-ass fucking Danish name. He was not in the Olympic. He did not come from a well-off family. Ain't nothing wrong with that, but let's keep it a buck. And thankfully, my friend never gave him any money. Okay, thank God for that. And I feel like a lot of people should give Onyeka some grace because obviously if he could scam her, her family, her friends, and scam across the whole world, then obviously he's a fucking good scammer, guys. Come on now. And let this be a lesson for every girl out there. Do not give man any money, okay? Not in this economy and not in the next. Thank you.
I feel like a lot of people on TikTok don't understand that some viral conversations are just not for all of us, all right? And you know how a story blows up? Like right now it's on Yeka and the whole Danish deception. It is so easy to jump in and like dogpile on this girl and be like, girl, you got scammed, and keep it surface level. And that's one thing. But there is a much bigger conversation happening here, like about proximity to whiteness and interracial relationships and the way that certain dynamics play out for women of color specifically. And like, here's the thing is I'm seeing all kind of people comment on this, but I'm also seeing white women comment on this. And I've just been thinking like, not every viral moment needs everybody's commentary. Sometimes it's just not appropriate. Like it's personally, I don't feel like it's my place. There are conversations that belong to the communities that they affect, and the rest of us need to know like when to step back and listen instead of adding unnecessary noise. Because you know, not every thought is meant for the For You page, especially if it's not really like contributing to everything. Like not every conversation is meant for us. And I'm not just saying this like in regards to like white women. It can be in regards to anybody. Like if something affects one community specifically and you are not like personally affected by that conversation and you do not have anything different or new to contribute to the conversation, sometimes it's just better to not say anything at all.
Onyeka is not a girl's girl. Onyeka is not a girl's girl because in part 24 is 25 when she said, oh, they told me he was with a sex worker and she was like a 1 out of a 10 and so he's now with prostitutes. She was bringing that woman down. She was bringing that woman down. You do not bring another woman down, not especially for a deadbeat like that man. You do not do that. So she's still in love with that man and she is upset. That's why she is trying to be like, oh, you can never find better. Oh, they said the girl you saw with after me looked like a sex worker and she's a 1 out of 10. Ha 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 ha. That's not a girl's girl. That is not a girl's girl. This girl has been a pick-me from day one. A pick-me from day one because... Explain to me how, in what century do you meet a man at a bar or it was a restaurant or whatever and you guys have a conversation and he does not ask for your number or nothing and it's like, okay, bye. And then you carried your 2 legs like praying mantis and you go and give him your Instagram for him to put his Instagram so you could follow him. And then you all were communicating through Instagram and not even through your number. That is giving pick me, choose me, take me. That is why she was so happy to tell him, oh, I have 2 jobs. I make my own money. I am not like one of these girls. I am different. Pick me. I am homely. I will give you a home. I will take care of you. What kind of embarrass? Like, and then, oh, it's coming to me. People are like, oh, he must have been really charismatic for him to scam, you know, all of his family, all of her family and friends. No. The friends are pick-me and the family are pick-me's just like her because it was all about the status. It's all about the status. This girl is from Nigeria. Do you know how hard it is to take money from a Nigerian man's hand, talk less an Igbo man, and they openly gave it like that? It's because they were like, they wanted the closest proximity to royalty and he was it. And so they were so blinded by the fact that, oh my goodness, he is British royalty. He is this. We are going to be like, their parents wanted to be able to have bragging rights to say, our daughter married a man from Denmark or from wherever it is that it's a British royal. Come to think about it, Onyeka. You are a realtor. You are working in an accounting company or whatever it is. You want to tell me you know how to Google immigration lawyers. You know how to Google how to take care of this man's back pain. You know how to Google to find flights. But you did not know how to take those your fingers like chicken legs and Google, hey, is this person royalty? Or Google his name to find out if he is real royalty or not. You're a realtor. You mean to tell me this man sent you pictures of properties he's owned and not once, Onyeka, not once did it cross your mind to run it as a realtor, as something you do for a living? Not once, Onyeka, did you think to check if these properties actually existed or just to be curious to see what the properties are going for, especially since he was claiming he was going to sell them for lower than what they cost? Onyeka, you did not. Number whatever I'm on. how did this man have access to all of your friends? Like, how? Like, for my man, none of my friends have access to that man, because why are you having access to him? Why? So how did he go so far that they all had his numbers and he had their numbers, to the point where he is taking money from them and telling them not to tell you, and they are all comfortable not to tell you? Because if my sister's man ever calls me and tells me, hey girl, Augusta, can you borrow me $5,000? I want to buy Mimi a watch, but don't tell her. And she hangs up, boop, the next person I'm calling. Girl, not my sister, but my other sister. Guess who is about to get a Rolex watch? Who? Yeah, it's for her birthday. And then on your birthday, let me not see that Rolex watch on your arm. Let me not see that Rolex watch on your arm. So I don't, like, things are not adding up. Like, am I losing it? Like, I have not been able to sleep for 3 days, because this is the biggest embarrassment that could ever happen. This is like we have been stripped off our identities. We have no aura no more. Like, we are no longer, we can never ever say we know ball, because Onyeka, upon all the ball that I have taught you, upon all the ball that Sheila 77 sprinkle have taught you, upon all the ball that all of these other women that come on here have taught you, Onyeka, you decide to let blonde hair, blue eye. You decide to let blonde hair, blue eye do us like they do you, in it, which means intense, put all of us in shame. All of us in shame. Blonde hair, blue eye. You were captivated by a blonde hair, blue eye. Because, and then you know what? You know what the honest truth that I'm not seeing nobody talking about? The honest truth is, right? If that was Jerome from down the street, or Olariwanju from Lagos, or Ade from Cameroon, none of them, not her, not her family, none of them would have even been able to say hello to her. None of them. It wouldn't have even got to the point of where she opens her Instagram and gives them to follow her. It would have never given that. It would have never given that. So she was just blinded by the man's looks, by the man's race, by the man's every single thing, and that is why you got scammed. Onyeka, ladies, we are supposed to be. This is why I said we have to be gold diggers, because there is no way that could have happened to a gold digger. Because gold diggers are not pygmies. You can never scam. And this is why it was, Onyeka, you were supposed to be digging for the gold. You let a man from Denmark, not even a man from Monaco, you let a man from Denmark, those people that they don't have better food, you let them come and dig gold from you and your family. This goes down in the history books. Madam, we bow for you, Mal. Well done. Oh, you do well. You do well. Everybody say give grace. Honey, I will give grace to a girl's girl. I will give grace to a girl's girl. She is not a girl's girl. The moment she spoke about the sex worker, that just sealed everything I spoke about this girl. Because mind you, we don't know if that woman is a sex worker. Her and her friends assumed it was a sex worker because they wanted to talk down on her. I rest my case. Onyekachi, you do well, ma. We bow for you. Oh, well done.
So I have so many questions about this Danish deception series. And the first question I have is, how are you traveling to all of these exotic places with no money? I mean, she claims that they both worked and that they made a substantial amount of money on their jobs. Well, how do you work and then be in all of these places at the same time? And in my 61 years here on earth, I've never had a man ask me for money. I've never loaned a man money. And the first time a man would ask me for money would be the last time that we would talk. And then the other question I have is like, where's her mother? You know what I mean? Because my daughter is a couple years older than her. And if she brought a man home that claims to be a millionaire, billionaire, whatever the hell he was saying, And she didn't do her homework and search who this man is. I certainly would have. And I would have brought back the evidence and said, look, girl, pay attention to these red flags. Something is off with this dude. I don't know, y'all. I got up to part 20 where she kind of started to wrap things up. And what stood out for me is it took till part 20 for you to say to yourself, he's been lying about everything. Come on now. I don't know. All right, love you. Bye.
The Danish deception is proof that everything is in fact about race. This beautiful Nigerian woman was scammed by a white man, a Danish white man. Her being Nigerian is very important because disproportionately across the country, across the globe, Nigerians are associated with fraudulent activity. I bring this particular point up because it is difficult for me to believe that if this man's name was Emeka, if this man's name was even Daryl, that he would have gotten away with the level of lies and deception that he got away with. And that brings me to my point about everything being about race. For some reason, this man was regarded as more trustworthy. And that calls into question why. Why is this man, this white man, blonde hair, blue eyes, by her description, trustworthy enough for ludicrous things coming out of his mouth to be believed? And some of you may be like, oh, no, I think love is really the main factor here. I would agree with you if when I searched her name and his name, first things that came up weren't those swirl pages that like have that kind of weird note towards swirl. Not just like, oh, love is love, right? And these pages are not just featuring them. These are captions written by her. So she had to submit to these pages, right? There's something to be said about that. There's something to be said about why someone would be able to get away with scamming you and your family to that level and you trust them. That's not just love. Love is political in and of itself, to be clear. Love is political in and of itself. So who is afforded love, who is afforded trust, who is afforded fidelity is political in and of itself. I'm not about to argue with y'all on that, like read books about it, because that in and of itself is political. And that is what brings me to this particular lens of this topic.
The Danish deception and the white boy problem. Let's talk about it. The Danish deception has taken the internet by storm, and Onyeka has gotten a lot of flack for it. Among all of the factors, what I find most interesting is the interracial element in how self-satisfied Onyeka seems, in spite of the fact that she was totally swindled. Sure, Onyeka lost a shit ton of money, but for a brief period of time, she had her own Prince Harry. So present in Onyeka's story and in the media and on social media is this preoccupation that women of color sometimes have with attaining the status symbol of being like engaged to or married to or just dating a white guy. In some ways, for certain people, whiteness is seen as like the pinnacle of romance and love. If you're able to claim a white person as your partner, then you've achieved something. There are millions of examples, but I'll give you some, starting with our personal fave, Mindy Kaling, who seems obsessed with casting white men as the romantic leads in all of her shows. Jenny Han of The Summer I Turned Pretty seems to suffer from the same sort of preoccupation. And then, of course, you have Patrick and Anna from this year's Love is Blind. And then you have Onyeka. Each of these examples points to this all-encompassing desire to be proximate to whiteness. And that desire comes at any cost, including one's own like self-esteem or self-confidence or self-regard. I guess the question is, what is it about whiteness that is so prized? Why do certain people of color want this proximity above all else? Why do interracial relationships garner such acclaim on social media, right? Like, why does the pairing of a black woman and a white man mean so many views and so many likes and so many followers on this app? And to me, I guess what's interesting about Mindy Kaling and Patrick and Onyeka is the fact that they have admitted that they grew up in these predominantly white environments. And I believe that that contributed largely to the way they view themselves and the world and their desire to be proximate to whiteness. And while I understand that perspective and that explanation, I ultimately think it's BS to use it once you're an adult. And I think that because I experienced it myself. But more about me. So my mom is white and my dad is Haitian American, and I grew up in Lily White, Princeton, New Jersey. Everyone was white around me, my teachers, my peers, the neighbors. And I realized over time that my parents were very weird about race. We weren't allowed to talk about race. We weren't able to identify other people by their
race or ethnicity, we had to describe people as like blonde or brown. Also hanging in the background from my parents and from my teachers was this idea that I wasn't just Black, I was mixed, and that distinction meant something to these people. I also had this like growing thought in the back of my mind that if I did in fact bring someone that was Black home to my parents, that they might not like it, and that really worried me. But then I went to college and I suddenly became responsible for my own worldview, and I had to work on it. I did a lot of like internal deconstruction, and it was really important for me to build Black community, and I went to a therapist who helped me like deconstruct these incredibly harmful views I had. At that same time, I began to question why I'd only dated white men up to that point, and why I had found it to be some sort of achievement or status symbol. And over time, with the help of the therapist, I began to understand why, right? Like, I had created this game in my head when I was a kid. I was least desired, and my goal was to be desired by someone around me, and all of those people were white. So I perceived this like desirability, being chosen by a white person, to be some degree of success. As a teenager, I believed that having a white boyfriend meant that I had succeeded at something, and it meant that I was being validated. It meant that I was beautiful, that I was attractive, that I had been accepted. But once in college, once on my own, once I was away from my parents, I realized that my thinking had been colonized by like the area I'd grown up in, which ultimately I think is the difference between Onyeka and I, right? Like, I've worked to deconstruct all of those harmful views, and I don't think she has. I absolutely have a lot of empathy for people who were raised with these ideals and who have subsisted on this proximity to whiteness. But once you become an adult and once you can expose yourself to other thoughts and like read books, it does become your responsibility to stop it. Because what I think is dangerous about failing to address these internal issues is that if you hold on to them, you're going to amplify them and project them onto your family of color, your friends of color, and the white people around you. They're going to accept your own internal BS as true. And it's also clear to me that Onyeka told this story because she thought it would garner acclaim and views. And there's a part of me that can see in her face that she's still self-satisfied. There's a part of her that still relishes the idea that a white man chose her and married her. And that makes me sad. All right, bye!
What can we learn from the Danish deception, girl? Come closer, because I'm sick and tired of women. First things first, I cannot believe Onyeka is Nigerian, and an Igbo girl at that. I cannot believe it. As a fellow Igbo girl, we already know Igbo women don't fall in love, period. Even the Bible doesn't tell us to love a man, because it's just something that we do regardless. Now, where did she go wrong? Step one, do not be polite. Onyeka is somebody that could very well afford a Chanel bag. If a man drags you into a store and tells you pick something, you better pick. You better pick. Now is not the time to be polite. You don't even know this man. Politeness is what made her the perfect target. What can we learn from this? Do not be polite. If he says pick, pick. I would have been there like, give me one of everything. Okay, one of everything. Number two, if a man that doesn't know you, and I'm talking about he hasn't known you for that long, you don't have a relationship with him. If a man that you do not know asks you for money, disappear. Literally disappear. Because you're looking for a provider. You cannot be a provider and then pretend and at the same time ask me for money. Which one are you? Because I need to know. And one of them is going to get blocked. I need to know which side you're on. You're either a man that comes as a provider or you're a man that is begging. Now, do not get me wrong. There are men out there that will provide for you for 10, 15, 20 years, and then maybe they lose their job, or maybe they're just down on finances. And that is when you step in as a wife. You step in as a wife because you have a history of 20, 15, 10 years of him being there for you. Okay? A stranger asking you for money, block. I'm gonna need you to utilize the block. And that is why you do not have to fall in love, because love will make you stupid. And if being in love makes you stupid, then I've never been in love. I've never been in love. I genuinely believe this, but if you're in a relationship and you're better off single than being in that relationship is not for you. If you can look at your finances, your status, your happiness, and you're better off being alone, then be alone. A man or a partner is meant to be supportive. You're meant to see the benefits of being with them. If all they can offer is their presence, then you're better off by yourself. Okay? I don't even blame Onyeka, because there are hundreds, if not thousands of women that believe and think and act just like she did. So this, I feel like it's a blessing in disguise. Let us take the lessons from here. Do not be like that. Do not fall in love. If you're somebody that's prone to fall in love, have an honest friend around. A friend that can take you and say, okay, you're acting like an idiot. And believe that friend. We all have those friends that are honest. Make them your best friend. Because I know sometimes women in love, we act like you act like you're mad. Have an honest friend. And lastly, always know when it's time to leave a relationship. Sometimes relationships are not meant to lead to marriage. You are meant to be the decoder of that. If you see yourself enjoying a relationship in the beginning stages, just like she did, and then it's turning sour, it's better to pack your bags than to be sitting there regretting, oh, I've invested so much time into this, I'm gonna stick by it, because that will be your demise. Learn when it's time to pack your bags, because that relationship is no longer serving you. Pack your bags. If Onyeka had realized 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months down the line that this guy was a waste of time, she would have been better off then than now. So learn when it's time to pack your bags. Anyway, guys, as an Igbo girl, the best advice I can give you is do not fall in love. These niggas are crazy. Let them be the one to fall in love, okay?
And also about this Danish deception thing, I think this proves another thing that Black Americans know. It's a certain few nationalities, some in Asia, some in Africa, that would do anything for a tall, blonde white man. Then a comment saying that man was facially challenged. He looked like a blonde Lord Farquaad. And I promise you this, if a Black American man would have told that girl, yeah, my family, we got millions and billions of dollars, and we can go to any hotel you want, we can do whatever you want, and I don't FaceTime for real. Should have been like, boy, please. Now, Risa Tisa, that's a whole different situation. I don't know what she was thinking, because she fell for a dude with a WWE belt collection. Come on, bro. And then when we all found the picture of dude, we was like, nah, bro, you really thought that he... We all found the pictures of him in his room with them WWE belts. We was like, nah.
Anyways, welcome back to the channel, guys, and I hope you guys have seen every other person's opinion. Like I said, if you want to get a full tea about this girl, her TikTok account name is Onyeka, and if you just, even on YouTube here, if you just browse the Danish DANIXH, in case I'm not pronouncing it well, deception, you are going to see all of the episode and all of the series that this lady had. But some few people that are just tuning in, probably this is the first time you're seeing it. Let me just give you guys a quick backstory where this Black lady met this particular white guy, and this guy has literally had a lot of record 10 years ago, according to the story, blah blah blah, and she was blind to it. He scammed her sister, scammed her friends, just a whole lot of persons that are around her. He literally scammed them by taking something out of them. And the annoying part is every single time he's looking more like she want to unfold this issue, this guy will say, don't worry, I'm gonna clear up your debts. And to make the information more stupid, this girl, Igbo girl for that matter, Nigerian full-blooded Igbo girl for that matter, that we literally know that Igbo people do not joke with their money in the whole of Nigeria. I'm talking to you as a Nigerian. We knew that whenever it comes to money, take Igbo people out. They don't joke with their money. They don't play with it. Like literally everything regarding them. But it was so annoying that this guy literally scammed to even her own mother. And why did this unfold? Why did this happen? Because he literally deceived her that he was from royalty, blah, 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 east, west, north, and south. And before you know, she fell in love, and of which I'm not blaming her for falling in love. Every single person can fall in love. Love is a beautiful thing. The only problem is with whom are you falling in love? That is where the problem is. And we don't get to tell if this person we're falling in love is actually the right person or is actually the wrong person. I really feel bad for her. I feel bad for her experience. I feel bad for every single thing the moment I heard her story. But why I am bringing this, it is because these white folks has literally tagged people that look like me. Like that we are the ones that are good with scamming, like we are the ones that they should never trust, that we are the one that they should literally not depend on. But at the end of the day, you find out that they are the one that is messing up. They are the ones that is doing a lot of things at every single them time, and they are not going to see their own fault. They will just only carry camera. I didn't even stitch a lot of white folks video because a lot of them are just saying nonsense. A lot of them are saying what I did not really get, I did not really understand. A lot of them, I don't even know the parts that they are coming from. Do you get? And I feel like this should serve as a lesson to a lot of us black folks, especially as ladies. And that is why I'm actually bringing it here. That is not every single thing that you see in form of white has all of that respect that you're supposed to be giving him. Yes, the looks of people do not matter as far as I'm concerned. Now, you need to also learn that every single thing that is happening, you have to Google, you have to ask. How can someone just wake up out of the blues and tell you, as a young lady, that he is a prince, and you so much believe that, oh my God, you are gonna meet with Queen one day, and blah blah blah, and you went to the airport to go pick his mother? She never dressed like royalty. Like, is that actually how royalty dress? In one of the videos I see flying on TikTok, where you literally see when this Onyeka of a girl went to the airport to go pick the boy's mother. And I asked myself, is this what royalty? Because even what she is wearing, if I am flying to go see my daughter-in-law, I should be even represented better. So there are just a whole lot of mixed reaction, a whole lot of red flags, but she didn't just take them into consideration. She see them as, no, I don't want to put this guy out there. I don't want to say anything about him out there to my friends and family. It's just a whole lot. And hearing fully well that he have to loan money. My husband cannot loan money from my sisters. That my sisters will not tell me, or my husband himself will not tell me before doing that. Talk more of a boyfriend. I don't know if you guys are getting my point. If the boyfriend is so deceptive enough that he cannot actually tell his girlfriend, at least the sister should have been able to do a better job. I feel like at this mission, a lot of things just went wrong. If it is in Africa, they will say, oh, the guy actually used juju, he actually used juju on the girl. So what did the Danish nonsense guy use that all the spell he actually cast on this lady and her family and her friends worked out really fast, and before they could actually realize it, it has gotten to the level where they can no longer fix it. Honestly, I saw this story, I was so pissed, I was so angry. I was angry at the girl, I was mad at her. At the same time, I was mad at the family members. Like I said, do not get me wrong, anybody can fall in love. Any single person can literally fall in love, and love is a beautiful thing, and love is also a stupid thing. But girls, do not be among those ones that will be like, pick me first. Please, I beg you. Don't be among the pick me first member, because I feel like that is one of the things that actually affected this girl. You're beautiful, you're everything. I'm not judging you, right? You're beautiful, you're everything. You should know your worth. In fact, even if you are the most ugliest girl in life, know your worth, know your value, know exactly what you can bring to the table. You don't just go ahead and just let the man see every single reasons why he need to come for you, why he need to go for you. But in another way, I appreciate her boldness for coming out to speak out, so that a lot of people can actually learn from this, because that is why I'm also bringing this down here, so that you also that is watching can learn from this, especially as a woman. It doesn't matter who you are, know that your value is very important no matter what. Don't let anybody make it look as if without you there is no them, without them there is no you. Every single person can survive on this planet without any other person. I don't know if my message is being passed out there. But anyways, let me know what you think in the comment section. Credit belongs to original creators of every single clips and stitches we have in our today's episode. If you've seen the story online, let me know. If you haven't, and this is the first channel that is bringing this to you, let me know as well. With that being said, with no further ado, I'm not going to say in my videos, I'm going to be saying, and I'll see you guys in my next one. For now, bye guys. I love you guys. Mwah.